She came from the cold stars. The night was cold. The snow fell slowly from the dark sky. In the distance, lights from the human colony blinked like stars. Then, something moved in the trees. She was tall. Her skin was smooth like glass, glowing. With soft blue light, her white hair floated in the wind. She wore no shoes, no coat, nothing to protect her from the cold. She was not human. Her name no one knew yet. She walked through the snow, step by step. Her legs were shaking. Her hands were red from the cold. But she kept going. Her eyes were wide, full of fear and hope. She reached the first house. She knocked once. The door opened slightly. A woman looked out, then slammed the door shut. The glowing woman did not speak. She touched her chest, then her arms. Slowly she pointed at herself, offering her body. Not in desire, but in desperation. She was cold. She wanted to come inside, to feel warm, to survive, but no one cared. The second house did not even open the door. The third had lights off. The fourth shouted from inside, "Go away." She fell to her knees. Snow covered her skin like a blanket of ice. Above her, the sky showed strange stars, not the ones Earth knew. Somewhere far away, a war was happening. Something dark was chasing her. Something deadly, she whispered. Something in her alien tongue no one understood. But her voice was soft, broken, like someone saying goodbye. Then a door creaked open. Not far away, a small, old house stood near the edge of the colony. It belonged to a man named Tom. He lived alone, once a soldier, now just a repairman. People said he didn't talk much. He liked quiet machines, coffee, and silence. But tonight, he heard a knock. He almost ignored it. But then he saw her. Her body was glowing in the snow. Her eyes met his. They were tired, sad. She didn't speak. Hand, and then collapsed. Tom ran out. He picked her up. Oh! She was cold. Her body was shaking like a dying engine. Her heart beat fast, too fast. He didn't ask questions. He took her inside. He placed her near the fire, covered her with a blanket. Her skin steamed, not from heat but from some strange reaction. She opened her eyes slowly. She looked around the small room. There were tools, wires, old machines, and Tom. He gave her a cup of warm water. She tried to hold it, but her hands were weak. Tom helped. She sipped, then closed her eyes again. A strange symbol glowed on her neck, something like a triangle, with a circle inside. It pulsed like a heartbeat. Tom had never seen anything like it. He sat across from her. "You're not from here," he said softly. She looked at him, then nodded. She took her finger and slowly drew a shape on the wooden floor, the same triangle symbol. Then she pointed up, to the stars. Then she pointed to herself. Then she pointed to the door. Tom understood. She came from the sky, from space. She ran from something. And now it was coming here. Suddenly, the lights in the room flickered. His machines beeped. The screen flashed red. Unidentified signal detected. Tom turned quickly. The alien woman looked scared. She pressed her hands against her ears. A high-pitched sound filled the room, only she could hear it. Then, just as fast, it stopped. Silence again. Tom stood up, checked his systems. Everything looked normal. But he felt something. A strange energy in the air. The woman slowly spoke. Only one word. "Run." It was the first word she spoke in English. Tom froze. "Who are you?" he asked. She didn't answer. Her eyes were on the window now. Outside, something was watching in. The distance, a small dot in the sky, glowed brighter than a star. It moved fast, too fast. Tom knew what that meant. He had seen this before, in the war. Not human. He looked at the woman again. She was shaking. He didn't know who she was. He didn't know what was coming. But he knew one thing. He couldn't leave. Extra outside again. Tom had not spoken to anyone in weeks. His house was quiet, filled with tools, wires, old radios, and dust. He lived near the edge of the colony, far from people, far from noise. But tonight, everything changed. She was lying on his floor near the fire, the alien woman. Her name was still a mystery. She hadn't said more than one word. Run. That word kept echoing in Tom's mind. He looked at her. Her breathing was slow, but steady. Her glowing skin was dim now, almost fading. Her silver hair clung to her face like threads of light. He stood up and walked to his storage room, grabbed an old blanket, thick boots, and some dried food. If she woke up again, she would need strength. When he returned, she was already sitting up, watching him carefully. Her eyes were different now. More alert, more curious. I won't hurt you, Tom said, holding out the food. She took it slowly. Their hands touched for a second. Her skin felt warmer than before, still strange, still otherworldly, but not frozen anymore. She pointed to her chest, then softly said, Anara. Tom blinked. Your name? She nodded. Okay, Anara. He pointed to himself. Tom. She smiled just a little. It was the first human-like expression she had shown. Then she stood up. Like she wasn't used to standing indoors, she walked to the window. Her eyes widened. Something was outside. Tom rushed to the window. At first, he saw nothing. But then, high in the sky, he spotted it. A black circle floating among the stars. No lights, no sound, just a dark shape moving against the night. Drone, Tom whispered. Not ours. The old war in space. He remembered the stories. Human scouts, alien probes, small attacks, then silence. But this was new. Anara touched the window with her glowing fingers. A small spark jumped from her hand to the glass. For a second, Tom saw something aflash, like a memory not his own. A dark ship, a firestorm, screams in the void. Then it was gone. Anara turned to him, her face now serious. She pointed at the drone and made an X across her chest. They're hunting you? Tom asked. She nodded. Then she walked over to the wooden table and picked up a tool, a screwdriver. She turned it in her hand, confused. Then she reached toward Tom's old radio. With fast fingers, she opened the back and began rewiring it. Tom stepped forward. Hey, wait. But before he could finish, the radio turned on, not with music, but with a strange whispering signal, static, mixed with a pulse. And something like breathing. Anara listened closely. Then she quickly pulled out the wires. The signal died. She looked at Tom and spoke slowly. Clearly more will come. Tom sat down, trying to understand. Why are they chasing you? He asked. She hesitated. Then she raised her hand again and touched her neck, where the glowing symbol was it began to shine brighter. Suddenly a small hologram appeared in the air. Floating above her hand, it showed a planet, not Earth, a city of tall silver towers. Then explosions, smoke, fire, a giant black ship in the sky. Tom stared. A war, he asked. She nodded. She pressed her other hand to the floor. Another image appeared, this time of Earth. A red circle flashed over it. Then a countdown began. 6, 5, 4. Tom jumped to his feet. It's a target. They're coming here? Anara didn't speak, but her eyes said it all. He took a deep breath, walked over to his workbench. He pulled out his old military tablet, the one he hadn't touched in years, still linked to satellites, still active. He ran a scan. Unknown object detected to 300 kilometers above Earth's surface. Stealth class. No ID. It was real. She wasn't lying. Tom looked at Anna again. She was touching the fire, watching it carefully. Like she didn't understand what heat was, only that it was life. You came here, he said slowly, just to stay warm. She nodded once. But what's inside you? He asked. It's why. Is that symbol glowing? What do they want? She looked at him with tired eyes, then spoke one more word. Key. He frowned. Key. What? But she didn't answer. She just leaned back, closed her eyes, whispered something in her language, soft, musical, and full of sadness. Outside, the drone in the sky turned silently and vanished into the clouds. Tom looked up. Trouble was coming. But for now, one thing was clear. The woman from the cold stars had found warmth, not just from fire, but from the one man who still had a heart warm enough to open the door. The night was quiet again, but it wasn't peace. It was the kind of silence before a storm. Tom stayed awake, sitting near the window. The fire had died down. Anara was sleeping on the floor, her back against the wall, her head tilted to one side. Even in sleep, her body glowed faintly like a warning light. Tom looked at her face. Not human. And yet something in her felt more human than most people he had met. He sipped cold coffee and turned on his military tablet. The screen blinked red. Incoming signal, unknown source code type. Biosentienth. Tapped it once. A map appeared. Black object, still in orbit above Earth, had started moving. Not away. Downward. Tom's breath caught in his throat. They're coming. He looked at Anara. You were right. She opened her eyes slowly. Maybe she had never really been asleep. Her eyes met his. Calm, no panic. Like she was waiting for this. Tom stood. We need help. I know someone. Anara didn't move. Just looked at him, trusted him. Tom packed fast radio gear, signal jammers, his old sidearm. Then he held out his hand. Come with me. She took it. They walked through the snowy path in silence. The forest around them creaked under the weight of frozen air. Overhead, the stars had disappeared, hidden by a low black cloud. No birds, no wind, no sound, except for one, a soft buzzing, mechanical watching. Tom didn't stop walking. Ignore it, he whispered behind them. Something moved in the trees, smooth, fast, crawling across branches like metal snakes. Tom knew what it was. A scout it wouldn't kill yet. They reached a hidden bunker near the hills, covered by snow, marked only by a red antenna poking from the ground. Tom opened the hatch. Inside, a young woman sat with her feet on a broken console, chewing gum, typing fast. Her name was Jin, hacker, genius, ex-military tech. When she saw Anar, she dropped her gum. Tom, is that alien? Yes. Hostile. Not yet. Jin stared at Anara, then back at Tom. Are you serious? You brought an alien fugitive into my bunker? Tom nodded. We need her memory, she asked. Something big. Anara stepped forward. She placed 2 fingers on Jin's old neural port. Wait, what are you? Too late. A flash of light. Jin's eyes rolled back. A stream of images passed between them. No words, just raw data. Cities, ships, explosions. A glowing cube. The core, then Earth, and a countdown. Jin gasped and pulled away. She fell to the ground, shaking. Oh. No. We're in deep trouble. Tom helped her up. What did you see? Jin wiped her face. Her people built something. A living AI. It feeds on energy, thoughts, emotions, pain. They lost control. It turned against them. Frowned. Why is it coming here? Jin looked at Anara. Because Earth was the backup plan. Her people marked Earth as the next safe zone for the core to restart itself. Tom turned to Anar. And you stole it? Anara nodded, then touched her chest. I am key, she said. Jin stepped back. You're the lock. No. The code, that core will come here. It will try to open itself. Through you? Anara looked down. She wasn't proud. She wasn't a hero. She was tired. Tom's hands clenched. How long? Jin checked her gear. 3 days. Maybe. Less silence filled the bunker. Then a crash above them. The ceiling shook. Something shook something. Jin's console blinked red. Proximity alert multiple hostiles. Life form status. Yuan can. Notable Intim grabbed his weapon. They found us. Anara stood calmly. Her symbol began to glow again, but this time stronger, brighter. A small circle of energy formed around her feet. Jin shouted, "She's powering up something." "What is that?" Nara stepped forward. Her voice came out clearer, stronger. "They will destroy all." "To take me?" Tom looked at her. "Then we don't let them take you." Suddenly the hatch above blew open. Cold wind burst in, and with it came the first hunter. It was not a man, not a robot, but something in between. Skin like metal, eyes like red stars. Its mouth did not move, but its voice echoed. "Return the core, or fall with your world." Tom stepped in front of Anara. "No." The hunter raised its hand. Glowing weapon formed from its palm. But before it could fire, Anara raised her arm. A wave of energy burst from her chest, pushing the creature back through the hatch like a rag doll. Jin stared. She just fried a shadow scout. Anara's knees buckled. She fell, gasping. Tom caught her. "That took too much from her," Jin whispered. "She can't do it again." Tom looked up at the storm outside. "They're not just coming," he said. "They're already here." Asterisk, the wind howled through the broken hatch. Jin sealed the entrance with a metal plate, welding it shut with sparks flying. The walls of the bunker shook slightly but held. For now, Tom sat next to Anara. She was weak, her skin dim, her body cold again. The energy she used to destroy the Shadow Scout had taken everything from her. He held her hand. It was too light, like bone wrapped in glowing glass. "You saved us," he whispered. Anara blinked slowly. "More will come." Jin paced the room, angry and scared. "You're both insane. They're not just here to hunt. They're here to clean." "Clean?" Tom asked. Jin turned her screen to show a hidden satellite feed. Above Earth, large shapes now hovered. Silent, motionless, each one the size of a city. Long, black ships, like floating knives. Jin zoomed in. One of them opened. It wasn't just a ship. It was a living structure. Breathing, pulsing, sending out a soft blue mist into the atmosphere. Tom frowned. "What is that?" Jin answered, voice flat. "Seeding." The invaders weren't just attacking. They were changing the planet, turning it into something else. Anara tried to stand. Her legs shook. Tom helped her up. She pointed at the mist on. The screen then touched her neck symbol. Core lives inside that mist. It spreads, feeds, grows. Jin added, "And once Earth is fully seeded, the core won't need her anymore. You'll activate by force and burn everything else." Tom looked out through the crack in the hatch. Snow was falling. But this time, it wasn't white. It was tinted faint blue. The seeding had already begun. 3 hours later, they reached the ruins of an old underground military lab. Tom used his retina scan to open the gate. Dust exploded into the air. Everything inside was dark and untouched. Jin activated emergency power. Lights blinked on. Inside the lab was something terrible. A clone. But not fully human. And not fully alien. It floated inside a glass tank. Sleeping, its skin looked like Anara's, but its eyes were human. Almost like a twisted mirror of Tom himself. "What is that?" Anara whispered. Tom clenched his fists. "A project. From the war. We tried to build something that could survive the alien AI, but it didn't work." Jin stared. "This one, it's waking up." The clone's eyes opened. It stared at Tom, smiled. "Hello, Father." Tom stepped back. "Dat thing is not mine." The clone pressed its hand to the glass. "You're right. I'm ours. Built by your code and her DNA." Jin gasped. "Wait, they used samples from the first contact crash. From Anara's people." Tom turned to Anara. She looked away, ashamed. The clone's voice became darker. "You tried to run from your design," it said to Anara. "But you were made for this. It's just like me." Then the alarms went off. Jin ran to the console. Something's coming. Big, not a scout. A full strike team. Outside, the blue snow had stopped, but the sky had turned black. A massive object descended through the clouds like a falling moon. The first hive beacon, it would land. It would root itself into the ground, and then the real harvesting would begin. Tom grabbed a plasma rifle from the wall. His hands were shaken, but his mind was clear. We blow that beacon up before it lands. Jin's eyes widened. You're crazy, but that thing is shielded. We don't have anything that strong. Tom looked at Anara. She is strong enough, but she'll die if she uses that power again. Anara didn't speak. She walked slowly to the lab window and looked up at the descending hive. Then she turned. No, she said, not me. Tom frowned. Then who? Anara pointed at the clone. Jin laughed nervously. You want to merge with it? That's suicide. But Anara shook her head. It was made to connect, not to fight. Tom stepped forward. Then what are we doing? Anara walked to him. She pressed her glowing hand to his chest, right over his heart. A burst of light. Tom gasped. His old military implant, the one long dead, came online, fully active, enhanced. You will carry my power now, she said softly, but only once. Tom looked at his hands. Electricity danced across his fingers. Anara stepped back. Jin gave him a transmitter pack. Get close to the beacon's core. I'll sync the blast. Tom nodded. Outside, the beacon was almost at ground level. The time had come. As Tom stepped out into the open snow, the air burned his skin. The hive was massive, larger than any ship he'd seen. Its base opened like flower petals made of bone, and steel drones filled the air. Watching then, one of them saw him. It screamed. Tom ran forward, heart pounding behind him. Anara whispered in her language. A small tear rolled down her cheek. If he failed, there would be no second strike. The wind was no longer wind. It screamed. Tom ran through the blue snow, every breath cutting into his lungs. The hive beacon had landed, not crashed, not slammed, but grown from the sky like a falling root. It reached the ground gently. As if it belonged here, the ground shook with a soft pulse, like a giant heart beneath the earth. Tom's body glowed faintly, charged by Anara's gift. He could feel the energy inside him, alive, moving, dangerous. But it wasn't just power. It was pain, memory, emotion. He could feel her inside him, her thoughts, her sorrow, her fear, and something else. A countdown. Back in the underground lab, Jin watched the screens. He's inside the energy field, she whispered. We'll lose the signal soon. Anara stood still, hands pressed together. Her symbol glowed, but not with light, with heat. I can feel the core, she said. It's listening. Listening to what? Jin asked. Anara looked. At the monitor showing Tom, listening to him. Tom reached the base of the hive. It wasn't a machine. It was alive. Its walls pulsed and breathed like flesh covered in armor. The door wasn't a door. It was a mouth. It opened as he stepped closer, silently allowing him in. Inside, the air was warm, wet. Blue light pulsed through long, black veins on the walls. He moved forward carefully. His rifle buzzed, losing signal. Then voices not loud. Not from his ears. They were inside his mind. You carry the code. You're not the one we want, but we will use you. Tom held his ground. Come and try. Suddenly from the walls they formed. Not soldiers. Not drones. Echoes, shadows of people. Tom once knew. Old squad mates, dead friends, his father. All fake. All smiling the wrong way. Leave my mind alone, he growled. They didn't stop. One stepped forward, a copy of Tom himself. But its eyes were black. You are full of fear. It said you protect the key because you still hope. Copy stepped closer. But hope is just a delay. You will lose her. You will lose everything. Tom raised his glowing hand. For a second, energy surged. Boom. The echo vanished in a burst of white light. The rest screamed and ran. Jin watched from the lab as his signal flickered. He just destroyed a node. He's getting close. Nada sat on the floor, eyes closed, hands trembling. I feel the Core waking up. It remembers pain. What kind of pain? Jin asked. Anara opened her eyes. Mine. Tom reached the center. The core hung in the air, spinning slowly. It was not metal. It looked like a heart, with veins reaching out in every direction. Sight it. Something moved. Something alive. And standing beneath it was the clone. The twisted copy, grown from his blood and her DNA. It smiled. You finally came. Raised his weapon. The clone didn't move. Shoot if you like. But the core will survive. You brought its key too close. It only needed her signal. Now it doesn't need her anymore. Then it's going to be disappointed. He threw the transmitter pack at the base of the core. The clone didn't stop him, because the core absorbed it, melted it, broke it down. No explosion, no fire, just silence. The clone laughed. This place isn't real anymore. You are inside its thoughts now. You want to destroy it? He leaned forward. Then you must destroy part of yourself. Back in the lab, Anara screamed. Jin grabbed her. What's wrong? Anara clutched her chest. He's inside the core's dream. It's using his memories, his regrets. Can you reach him? Jin asked. Anara didn't answer with words. She placed both hands on the console. Her body shook. And in a flash, she sent her voice into his mind. Tom stood frozen. He saw images around him. Not real, just dreams. His childhood. His mother, beside him, smiling. But then her face began to melt. The core was changing her. Don't believe it, said a voice. Anara's voice. Inside his head. Find the core inside the core. The pain point. The first memory. That's where you plant the blast. Tom gasped. He closed his eyes. Let the false images fall away, and then he saw it. A small black orb pulsing at the center of the core, hidden behind all the emotion. Behind the lies, he ran straight into it. The clone screamed, No, you'll kill us both. Tom reached the orb and pressed his glowing hand against it. His heart stopped. The pain shot through him like fire. Outside, the hive shook violently. Blue lightning cracked across the sky. Jin stared in horror. He did it. Found the cores. Heart Anara collapsed. Inside, Tom's hand glowed white-hot. He whispered, This is for the ones you erased. And then silence. Asterisk everything stopped. No sound, no light, no feeling. Tom floated in blackness, as if space itself had swallowed him. His hands still pressed against the core's heart, but it was no longer beating. He couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. Inside this silent place, time felt frozen. Then, a voice, not loud, not from outside, from deep within the core. Two minds cannot hold one truth. Tom opened his eyes. He was standing now in a copy of his old home, the house that burned during the war. But this was no memory. It was a test. Across the room, Nara stood facing him, but it wasn't really her. It was her mind pulled. Into the same dream space by the core, they were both trapped inside it. In the real world, alarm screamed. Jin ran from console to console, trying to reconnect to Tom's vitals. The hive trembled. The sky turned orange. She yelled into the mic, Tom, Anara, answer me. No response. Then the clone's voice crackled over the radio, laughing weakly. You shouldn't have sent them in together. Jin pointed her gun. At him, you're dying with them, she snapped. He only smiled. I was already dead. I was born in a lab, remember? Inside the core's dream space, the air was heavy. Anara looked at Tom, her eyes full of sadness. It wants one of us to stay, she said. Tom understood. To destroy the core completely, someone had to stay behind. To keep the blast focused, to lock it from the inside. One mind. Must fuse with it and die. Outside, Jin found a signal again. Faint, shaking. A final warning flashed across the screen. Core stabilizing. Self-repair in 2 minutes. If they didn't end it now, everything would restart. Inside the dream, Tom looked at Anara. I'll do it, he said, but she shook her head. You're human. You belong to this world. I don't. Tom stepped closer. You gave me your power. I can handle it. Anara smiled. Exactly. You're strong. That's why you must leave. Tom's hands curled into fists. Why do you all keep trying to save me? He shouted. Everyone dies so I can live. I'm tired of it. What? Anara stepped forward. She touched his face. Because you're still trying to protect others, she whispered. And I ran from everything. Tears filled her eyes, glowing like starlight. I was supposed to lead my people, but I failed. I watched them burn. I didn't fight. I only survived. She closed her eyes. This time, I choose to be the last flame. Outside, Jin screamed into the mic. 1 minute, core recharging. Inside, Anara began to glow. The floor cracked. The false world trembled. Tom fell to his knees. Please don't do this, begged. Anara knelt beside him. You gave me warmth, not just from the fire, from your heart. She leaned forward. Their foreheads touched. Then she whispered, Now I give it back. In a blinding light, Tom was pushed back. His body fell through the dream, through time, through memory, until he landed outside, in the snow, gasping for breath. The hive was silent. Then dash boom. A beam of white light burst through its center. The entire structure shook, cracked, and collapsed inward like a dying star. Everything the core had built, every machine, every shadow, every piece of its dark mind, vanished in the light. Jin stood at the lab door, staring into the sky. The snow turned white again. The wind was finally quiet. Tom crawled up from the ridge, coughing, burned, shaking. Jin ran to him. Where's Anara? She asked. Tom didn't speak. He looked up at the stars. They were clear now. No ships. No smoke. Only silence. A week passed. The government came. Cleaned up. Asked questions. Don didn't answer any. He stayed quiet. Fixed machines, repaired wires, sat by the fire. Jin visited sometimes. She'd bring food, or just sit beside him. One night, as the wind blew gently across the hills, someone knocked on his door, soft, gentle, familiar. He froze, opened it slowly. No, one was there. Only a spark on the ground, glowing faint blue, still warm. Snow fell softly over the hills, but this time the sky was not dark. No blue mist, no shadows, just stars. Bright and clean, Tom sat outside his house, wrapped in an old coat, staring at the fire pit. No flames, just cold ashes. It had been 12 days since the hive fell. Since the core died? Since she disappeared? The world had moved on quickly. Cities celebrated. Officials made speeches. People forgot. But Tom didn't. Anara wasn't just a visitor from another world. She was the reason Earth was still standing. And she was gone. He didn't hear the knock at first. It was soft, gentle, like the first one she made, that cold night in the snow. He opened the door. No one there. Just a trail, faint, glowing footprints in the snow leading into the woods. He followed. The trail led him to the place where they first met, the forest clearing. But something was different now. The snow here was melted. Grass had started to grow. Tiny flowers, glowing blue, pulsed with life, and at the center was a pod, half metal, half crystal, covered in frost. Still. Humming, Tom stepped closer. The pod opened with a breath, like it was alive. Inside was a figure, curled, sleeping, glowing faintly. Her skin, once cracked and fading, now shimmered with golden threads. Her eyes opened slowly. Anara, Tom didn't move. He thought it might be another trick, another dream. But then she smiled, soft, real, and whispered one word. Warm. He dropped to his knees. Tears rolled down his face. He wasn't the crying type, but this wasn't a normal kind of moment. You died, he said, choking. I saw you burn. She touched her chest. Her symbol was still there, but changed, no longer a warning, now a circle of light, I did, she said. But I came back different. Tom helped her out of the pod. She stood slowly, weak but alive. I am not fully me anymore, she explained. I held the core inside me long enough to learn. Tom narrowed his eyes. Learn what? Anara looked up at the stars. That your world is not weak. It's full of pieces, broken but kind, loud but beautiful. She looked at him, and you gave me something my world forgot. He raised an eyebrow. What's that? She smiled. A second chance. They walked back to the house. She sat near the fire again, this time lit, warm, alive. She held the mug he gave her once, now full of tea, and she didn't shiver. Outside, the wind carried blue flower seeds across the snow, her gift to the earth, tiny signs of new life. From her world, mixed with his. Weeks passed. People still didn't believe Tom's story. Some did. One day, Jin brought visitors, kids, students, scientists. They sat around the fire while Anarat told stories of stars, lost cities, and what it felt like to be alone for centuries. She never said she was a hero, but to those who heard her, she was. One evening, Tom and Anarat stood outside, watching the sky. A shooting star passed. Tom said, "What now?" Anarat smiled. "No, I stay." He looked at her, surprised. "You're not leaving?" "I was born in the cold. Built for silence," she said. "But I came here for warmth." She looked at him, eyes glowing like soft embers, and I found it.